Wow. Y'all see that? Can y'all feel that wind? Woo! Can you hear it? Is it fucking up the audio? Can this little influencer microphone handle that wind? I'll find out after recording the video. And hopefully it's not a giant waste of time. The wind's fucking it up. We should be good though. I got the little puff piece. Should be good. The winds of change. The season of change. Look at the tripod shaking. The tripod can't even handle this video that's being made. Acquire what you admire. That phrase, that mantra changed my fucking life because it's so simple. And instantly, all these things that I had always admired came to mind when I came across that phrase. For years and years and years, anytime a performer or a friend or a client or someone said that they didn't drink, that they're sober, that they don't mess with that dumb shit, I never once thought, oh, well, look at this straight edge, boring ass motherfucker. Or I never thought, oh, I bet you're real fun at parties. I always admired it. Never once, even when I was like really deep into partying, I never had a negative thought or feeling if someone said they don't drink or they're sober. I always admired it. I always thought, wow, that's a respectable motherfucker. It's hard to go without drinking. How did I know that? Because I wasn't. I wasn't going without it. Especially if it was the front man of a band. I remember I saw Beartooth here in Raleigh. It's like 2 or 3 years ago. One of my favorite bands. And I'm getting the chills. The singer, amazing frontman. Sound like fucking Donald Trump. Amazing, the very best. Excellent. Towards the end of the show, he announced that he was on day 60 or day 90 or whatever of his sobriety. I got the chills then, just like I'm getting now. I'm looking at this guy who's a performer. He's in the music world. I'm familiar with that world. I know how hard it is to go without partying, without drinking when you're in a band in that music scene. It's very hard. And everyone in the audience, they're cheering, they're clapping. And then he's also like, now don't get it fucked up. You're drinking, do your thing. He's not coming off as overly preachy. He's not saying, so put your fucking drinks down now. He's saying, if you're doing your thing, do your thing. I'm just letting you know this is what I'm doing. I'm going without. I'm walking this path. It's changed my life. He pointed out his fiance in the audience. I'm sure she's like super proud of him. It's just this really cool moment. And I wasn't drinking that night because I was driving, but I was still in a season of drinking. And it just stood out to me like, fuck, that's so admirable. I respect this motherfucker. I have so much respect for this guy. For being able to live this lifestyle, have that career, and not drink. That moment stood out to me. And it always will in my memory. And then another client of mine, one of my very first clients, we're talking about drinking, and he's walking me through his past with it, walking me through some of his crazier stories. And he doesn't make an emotional big deal out of it. He just goes, yeah, I don't do that dumb shit anymore. He said, not even that's more how I would say it. He didn't even need to highlight how dumb it is. He was very calm about it. He said, yeah, I don't do that anymore. He was so aware of the downsides that he doesn't do it. And that was that. And he was so aware of how much better off he was without it. That was another one of those moments that stood out. I respected him more as he's telling me that. I'm like, wow, this is a solid individual. And after having a lot of those kinds of moments and interactions, I hear that phrase. acquire what you admire. What do you respect in other people? Go do that. What do you respect about other people? Go do that shit. If you respect how well spoken or how well articulated someone is, that means you will respect yourself more if you become very well spoken and well articulated. If you respect someone's physique, how good a shape they're in, how much they prioritize their physical health, that means you will respect yourself more if you prioritized your physical health. This is so simple and it makes so much sense. If you hold someone in high regard for the way they are, what's going to happen if you do that same thing? If you behave in that same way, if you adopt those characteristics? Well, now you're going to hold yourself in high regard. And what could be more advantageous for your confidence than holding yourself in high regard? It's crazy to me that this is something I discovered in my early 30s. Why is this not talked about right out of the gate in our teenage years, in our early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s? Why is this not talked about at all times? The very first podcast I did, we called it personal development. No, we called it the obvious need for personal development. And it's very obvious. All these things, all these themes, all these messages, they're so simple, they're so obvious. All that's needed is for us to take action. If your hero, if someone that you had a ton of respect for, had your bad habits, had your flaws, had your shortcomings, would you respect them the same way? If the answer is no, that means because of the things you're doing, because of the things you're saying, because of the habits you have, you respect yourself less. That is to your disadvantage. That is to your detriment. If you can have habits that make you respect yourself more, you will inherently go so much farther in this fucking life. How could it not be this way? How could it not be this way? If you have massive self-respect, which comes with massive confidence, you're going to do better at literally everything. You're going to have better small talk with strangers. You're going to have better deep, intense conversations. You're going to have better interactions with anyone and everyone. You're going to do better at your job. You're going to do better with your family. Every single task that you have to accomplish, you're going to be better at. How could it not be this way? If you respect yourself more. So it's very simple. People you respect, people you hold in high regard, things that you see out in this world, and you go, damn, that's solid. That's solid. People that don't work out, average Janes and Joes, it doesn't matter. When they see a physical specimen do some wild shit in the gym, in the world, they can lift hundreds and hundreds of pounds. They can bang out 15 to 20 pull-ups and it looks like someone turned the gravity off. If someone can do some gnarly pistol squat, ass to grass, like just impressive feats of physicality. I don't care who you are. We all respect that shit. We all go, yep, that's legit. That's pretty fucking cool. That means you would think you're pretty fucking cool if you could do that shit. So go do it. Go create that motherfucker. Go gain those abilities. Go cultivate those characteristics. Once I started thinking in this way, the do's and don'ts became very obvious. And having a list of do's and don'ts is, like everything else we're talking about, very advantageous. This is what I want for you. I want the things you think to be to your benefit, not to your detriment. I want the things you do to be to your benefit, not to your detriment. I want the life you live to be to your benefit, not to your detriment. And if I want that for you and you don't, well, it's kind of fucking crazy. I want you, a complete stranger, to live a better life more than you do. That's a big issue. I want you to really think about this. What do you see out there in the world that you like? What do you admire? What do you respect about respectable people? Go become that motherfucker. Let's go.